Well, hey there, it's Damian Dam with Designs by Dams. So today I'm going to go over the top 10 things you need to know when you're buying your wood from Home Depot and or Lowe's. I'm going to try to do a video about wood without there being any innuendos, but I promise that's not going to be possible, so don't laugh too much at the stuff I say. Super bright out today, but for this one, we are going to do the Home Depot. Number one, you need to know your project. Is it going to be indoors, outdoors? You're doing a table, you're doing a fence. Know what kind of project you're doing and buy your wood accordingly. Number two, you're going to want to know your wood. What kind of wood do you need? Do you need pressure treated wood? Is your wood going to be indoors, outdoors? Is it something that needs a finish? Do you want a hardwood, a softwood? How durable does it need to be? Obviously, your hardwoods are going to be more durable. Your softwoods are going to be easier to manipulate in terms of sanding and cutting and that kind of stuff. So definitely know the wood that you want to use. And if you're trying to use something that is much nicer, much more expensive, I would advise going to a lumber yard or maybe somewhere like Woodworks, which we have in Tampa. I don't know if there's any near you, but there are much nicer woods that you can get. Just know you're going to pay more. And speaking about paying more, number three is know your budget. You need to know how much you're able to spend, because once you start getting into those higher woods, you can spend a lot of money. You know, if you're trying to say, hey, I'm going to build this table because it's cheaper than going and buying one somewhere, you know, you need to understand that not always. Also, quick important note, make sure your wife knows what you're doing and that you're in her budget as well and she knows what's going on with that. I can't tell you how many times I came home and was like, oh, look, I spent a couple $100 on wood. And my wife was like, wait, what? Number four is you need to know your tools. Do you have a saw? Do you have a sander? Do you have a drill? Do you have those things that you'll need to do the project? You may be able to get away with not having a saw. Some places will cut the wood for you. But for most of it, you're probably going to need a drill. You're probably going to need some type of sanding. You know, what tools are you going to need and what can you get away with not having? You know, my first project, a refinishing project, all I had was a sander. So it's possible to do projects with just a sander, but I'll tell you it's way easier if you have some extra tools with you. This is unrelated, but want to give children nightmares for Halloween? Here we go. This whole, it's like 7 feet tall. It's a little messed up. Let's look at it from, look at that. Just saying. Number five is know your cuts. If you go to a Home Depot or to a Lowe's and you know exactly what cuts you need, and you may not have a table saw or a miter saw or even a circular saw, but you know exactly what cuts you need, you can get away with not having a saw. You know, it's definitely easier if you have your own to make your own cuts, but a lot of these places will charge you maybe 50 cents a cut, or some don't charge you at all. You can get away with a lot by knowing exactly the cuts that you need and knowing exactly how they fit together. And if you don't need anything cut when you get home, it really does make your project easier. So now we get into the actual choosing of the wood. Number six is get the right size of wood. You know, if you're doing a project and you're looking at the plans and it says you need a 2x4, you know, make sure that that's okay if you get it from Home Depot or Lowe's, because it's not going to actually be a 2x4. It'll be a 1.5 by like 3.5 or 3 3/4, just depending on how they're cutting it. And that's something that you need to know ahead of time. You know, when if you're measuring and the space you have is 12 inches, you know, a 12-inch piece of wood from Home Depot will not be 12 inches. That's just something you need to know going in. So back to picking the right wood. When you are at Home Depot, there's a lot of aisles. I think this is number 1 of 3 or 4. But as you can see behind me, there's wood. This color, this is green. This says PT. I'll show you right there. It says PT wood. Pressure treated. You do not want pressure treated wood. So we found another aisle, and this aisle is framing lumber. Framing lumber works. It's normally not as expensive as the pressure treated stuff. It's not as nice as some of the other stuff, but it gives you a lot of what you need. So it's going to give you good wood to work with. You're going to have sides on it. So that's what I was talking about, where you might want to spend a little bit more so you don't have to either cut these off or... So like I was saying, if you try to put these two together, even with the best setup, you're still going to have a little gap. Number 7, get straight wood. This is the biggest thing you can do at the beginning of your project to save you time. If your wood is not straight, you're gonna have to find a way to make it straight. If you don't have a planer, if you don't have a hand planer, you're either gonna be sanding, you're gonna be trying to bend the wood, mold the wood, make the wood work. If you could spend that time at the beginning, making sure you're getting the best, straightest wood possible, it'll save you boatloads of time at the end. This is not what your wood should be doing. Make sure you get straight wood. Listen, I know I said straight wood like 9 times. Get your mind out of the gutter. Number 8 is buy matching wood. And what I mean by that is if you're doing something like a tabletop, you want all that wood to be matching unless you're purposely doing it. You can break this rule if you know exactly what you're doing, you know. But if you're buying, you don't want to like buy pine and cedar and I don't know, hickory or something and mix them all together and then they're not working right and it's not doing what you're trying to get it to do. You know, you can buy different woods depending on what you're doing and depending on the needs. You know, your wood, your table legs, if you're painting them, may not need to be the same wood as your tabletop. As long as you know that ahead of time, you want to buy the wood that matches the project that you're working. Number 9 is don't cheap out. If you're building something, you want it to last. You want it to be something that's worth putting this time and effort in, because most of the time, what you're going to build, if you're building it right, is going to last way longer than something else might. And what, you know, if you're talking about $10 for a piece of wood, $10 extra, but if it's the right wood and it's going to be a lasting piece, well, then do it. Depends on what my wife wants. You know, you can get away with some projects spending very limited money to a ton of money. But, you know, depending on what you're going to do with it, if this is going to be a centerpiece in your home, spend the money. If this is going to be, you know, a shelf that's in your garage, maybe you can get away with getting some cheaper stuff. So here's the more expensive area. Let me show you this wood. So this wood has sides. It's been sanded. Very nice. And number 10 is know your car size. This one's kind of funny, but very relevant. You know, I was doing a project and you know, I'm with my wife. We go to the store. We get probably $1,000 worth of stuff. I had all these things going on and we just moved into our house. And we get outside. We have 2 big cartfuls from Lowe's full of stuff. And we get to our car and I go, oh, wait a second. This is not going to fit in our car. Call my brother up. He's able to borrow an SUV, comes to help, and we took everything, shoved it in both cars, hardly fit. My wife's in the passenger side going like this the whole time. She's very annoyed at this point, obviously. But it just took so much time and so much effort, and I didn't even think about it ahead of time because I could have easily broken up what I was doing, got it in multiple trips. But if your car from windshield to trunk is only 8 feet long and you get a 10-foot piece of wood, it's not going to fit unless it's sticking out the window. And my back windows don't go up, so I had to leave the trunk open, and then I'm using straps. Just know your car size. A little funny, but honestly true. If you're like me, you've done it at least one time. You know, I bought drywall once, and I had to do it sideways, and I'm scraping off the sides as I'm going into the car because did not know my car size. So that's super important. And the nice thing about Lowe's and Home Depot is that they have trucks that you can rent most of the time, as long as they're there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you're gonna get something out of it. You know, obviously not everyone likes Home Depot and Lowe's and using them, but sometimes that's the only choice that you have. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to see anything else. Thanks for watching. It's been a huge pleasure, and I will get you guys some videos soon. And keep up on the woodworking. I'd love to see your guys' projects. You're welcome to email me at designsbydams@gmail.com. That's hard to say. Or send me an Instagram with the work you're doing. I normally keep pictures and videos and stuff that I'm doing up there, and I'd love to see what you guys are doing. So thanks again. Bye.